Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another video for you guys. So as you see in the title, I'm gonna give you the reasons why I chose the iPhone 11 Pro Max over the Samsung Galaxy S20 in 2020. But before I get into this video, just head on down below and click that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on so when I upload a video you get notified, okay? So now let's dig in. I know a lot of you probably out there trying to decide if you should get an iPhone 11 Pro Max or 11 Pro or Samsung Galaxy S20. This video I'm gonna give you my take on why I chose it. For you it might be different, but this probably can help you out in some way or another. So yeah, first thing I'm gonna get into is the physical part of the phone. So the build quality, the color, the design, and all those aspects of the phone. As far as the build quality, as you can see in the back, we have a triple setup here. On the Samsung, this is a square cutout. On the Samsung, it's a rectangular cutout, which comes down a little further on the body of the phone. I would say maybe like a half an inch longer than this on the iPhone, and I pretty much like the one on the iPhone better. It has the rings going around the camera here in the same color as the side ring on the phone here. So as you can see, this is a gold, it's a stainless steel material. In the back we have a frosted glass here. It looks really nice, and the ring going around the camera here, the stainless steel ring around the camera, really makes it stands out a little bit because it's pretty much the same color as the band that goes around the phone. Another part of it for me is the screen. The flat displays, I pretty much prefer the flat displays over the curved displays. And Samsung this year, they pretty much made that curve less defined, which is a good thing, but it still wasn't enough. For me, I prefer a completely flat display. On the Samsung, I think they used a 2D glass on the phone, and it's not as pronounced as before the curve, but I still prefer the look of the iPhone flat display. Another thing, the notch. People complain about the notch. The reason why I said people complain about it is because I really don't see this as an issue. On the Samsung, you get pretty much an edge-to-edge display. It has just a punch hole cut out in the front. For me, this is kind of a signature look on the iPhone. It reminded me of when they had the home button. As soon as you see the front of an iPhone, you could definitely tell that it's an iPhone. This with the notch here, I think it gives it a signature look on the front with the notch. As soon as you see a notch like this, a cutout like this, you can tell that it's an iPhone. I've seen other Androids with cutouts, but you can tell the difference because their cutouts is not as wide and it's a little more deeper than the one on the iPhone. So for me, that's not an issue. I pretty much have no issue with the cutout here, because watching videos, I watching landscape mode, and I never use a full screen. I always have the 1080p or for the 2K, and I watch it when I'm watching a video. It has the two black bars that pretty much disguises the notch. So for me, that's not an issue. Another thing is, I would say, the software support. I would say if you're gonna spend a certain amount of money on a phone, you should be getting the latest. They should prioritize that device. As far as like Samsung with the Galaxy devices, the software support and software updates, they pretty much take a long time, and for me, that's not a good thing. Features, a lot of times, when as far as the iPhones, no matter how old your iPhone is, some of them they might not support pretty much the latest software, but as long as you fall in that batch where your phone supports the software update, you're gonna get it on the same day as all the other iPhones. So they don't prioritize the phones as far as the latest ones that come out. They pretty much make everyone get the update the same day at the same time, and that's, for me, that was a part of my decision making, where I pretty much think if you're gonna spend a certain amount of money on a phone, you should be able to keep it for a while. And some Samsung, pretty much what they do, you get an update maybe once or twice, and then after that you're off the list. You're stuck with the last update that you get. You're never gonna get another update, and it takes a long time for you to get an update as well, because Google has to release the latest version of Android. Then pretty much the manufacturer has to get it, pretty much like Samsung or LG. They gotta do whatever they do with the software, and then the different carriers have to approve it. But with the iPhone, everyone gets their update the same day. The features, if you support a certain feature, you're gonna get it on your phone. And you pretty much, this device, I'm pretty much sure the next 3-4 years we're still gonna get software updates on this. All right, another thing, the Samsung, yes, it has 5G support. That's another thing that came out, 5G on the Samsung phone. I know you're gonna say, hey, the Samsung's 5G. For me, that's not an issue. I really don't care about 5G right at the moment, because that's still in development. Not every carrier has 5G, not every location has it. It's something that's still in the works to get better over the years. And 4G LTE is pretty much quick. Is the 5G on some carriers is a little bit faster than some, but depending on the 5G band. But I would say 5G for me is not an issue. That wasn't a part of my decision making in getting this phone over the S20, but I had to put that on the list as well, just to say, if someone's trying to say that the Samsung has 5G, for me that is not an issue. All right. And another thing for me, the colors on the iPhone, it pretty much reminds me of choosing like a jewelry as much, because the thing is, on the Samsungs, the colors for me this year, I really don't find the colors that attractive on the S20s this year. For me, they pretty much left off I think they needed a white or red or something on the list, just to hit that spot where you pretty much get some brilliant colors. But I would say with the iPhone, the stainless steel and the colors they choose makes it looks very premium. I pretty much prefer the build quality on the iPhone. With the frosted glass in the back here, gives the phone a very nice look. The Apple logo pretty much sits in the center right now, and they removed all the stuff they used to print on the back here with the name iPhone. Just gives it a plain and premium look. All right, another thing for me, battery life. The Samsung, yeah, they stepped up the battery capacities as far as the milliamp hours, but for me, the Pro Max still stands out. It still gives Samsung a run for their money as far as the battery life. The battery life on the phone is great. I don't think either the S20 or the iPhone is better than one another in the battery department, so that was an easy part of my decision making right there, the battery life. The other thing, speakers. The speaker on this phone is pretty much good. Compared to the Samsung, I prefer the sound on the iPhone, because I played with both of them before, and I don't have one in this video to show you guys since I looked at it at the store before. But the speaker quality on the iPhone, I prefer that. And as pretty much as I'm here playing with the power button, that reminds me of another thing, Face ID. I pretty much would choose Face ID over the fingerprint scanner in the screen any day. It's pretty fast, convenient. Logging into my banking apps, whatever apps I'm logging into, it makes it pretty quick and easy. It's very convenient. As you can see, I'm behind the camera, and Face ID's phone still unlocks pretty quick. No lags, no delays. You just, as soon as you open the screen, it opens. As you can see, locks right here, and you see that locks open, and I just swipe up and I'm in the phone, and I'm behind the camera. You can see how fast that is, and how accurate and how convenient it is as far as opening and logging into your apps, and it makes it very convenient logging into and out of your apps. Also, another department in the smartphone that had me choose the iPhone over the Samsung is the apps and the App Store. So on the App Store on Apple, you pretty much don't have too much apps on there that pretty much I would call spam on your phone. And when you have the apps on the iPhone, they're pretty much more polished. They function better, and you have better apps that pretty much supports video editing and picture editing on your phone. And as far as how I remember using my Android phone, the apps, they used to have a lot of ads in there, a lot of ads. And on the iPhone, you rarely even see that. It's very rare you see ads in the apps, and it's just pretty much more smoother experience. And the apps are way more polished. The developers, they pretty much seem like they pretty much put time into developing the apps for the iPhone better than the ones on the Android. So that was my take on the apps department. So as scrolling on the phone brings me back to the new 120Hz screen that's on the Samsung S20. For me, 120Hz, I would say they pretty much was trying to do that to play catch up with the iPhone, because there were glitches on some of the Android phones as far as the scrolling on the screen. I would say on the iPhone, it's pretty smooth without a 120Hz display. And Samsung, it's the 120Hz, don't get me wrong, it's pretty smooth. It's a very smooth screen, but as far as using the iPhone, it's a fluid experience. You don't have any hiccups or glitches scrolling through your screen, opening and closing your apps. It's pretty fast and smooth on the iPhone. The way how they tweak the software on the iPhone, I gotta pretty much give it to Apple, the way how they do this. And it's not a 120Hz display, but it pretty much performs like one, in my opinion. Comparing to the Samsung had 120Hz, it's a little bit more smooth, but that still wouldn't have me choose it over the iPhone just for that alone. The other thing for me, yes, on the Samsung, I would say the price point, now they're starting in the price range of the iPhones. So I would say some people would go to Samsung back then just for the prices, because it would be more reasonable as price wise compared to an iPhone. But now they're releasing the phones pretty much at the same price as the iPhones. And that brings me back to another topic here, the storage on the phones. So on the Samsung, you pretty much buy a S20 with the base storage of 128 gigabytes, and then you have SD card support. Yes, it's the same price for the base storage on the iPhone, but for me, storage nowadays is not a big issue on phones, since most people, they use cloud storage. And on the iPhone, if you're not backing up photos on iCloud, you can use Google Photos, which is pretty much free. So for me, storage is not a problem, since photos and videos take up most of the storage on a phone, and you pretty much don't have to store them on the phone physically. You can have them in the cloud where you have access to those. So that wasn't a big problem for me in deciding which phone to get. And pretty much the next thing we're gonna look at, I would say, is the last thing that was on the list for me that I was waiting on to choose a phone, is the cameras. And Samsung, they have a new they pretty much updated the megapixels a little bit, the apertures and everything. But for me, the only thing that Samsung would have over the iPhone cameras right now is that their ultra wide camera supports night mode, and the one on the iPhone doesn't. But it's very rare I'm gonna take a picture outside at night with the ultra wide camera anyway. So for me, that was not an issue. So choosing the phone based on cameras, the iPhone in 2020, this phone was released in September 2019. The S20 was announced in February of 2020 and went on sale in March. But the cameras on the iPhone, the way how these cameras was built and the way the software that they use to tweak these cameras, I gotta give it to Apple, because in a lot of shots these cameras beat the S20 camera as far as even stabilization on this phone, doing like a 4K or a 1080p 60 video recording. This one is way more stable than the Samsung. So I would say cameras on the iPhone still stands up against the S20 that was just recently released by Samsung since March here. But yeah, for me, even this phone, I plan on keeping this phone for a long time. That's another reason why I chose this phone, because I know the software support for this phone is gonna go a long way as far as the next 2-3 years. And Samsung, I know I'm not sure if they're gonna change anytime soon, but their software support wasn't for maybe like a year or two. And if as I said, if you spend this money on a phone, you should be able to get the latest software on time, and your device should always support the software updates for a long time. So that brings me to the end of the video, and please remember to like, share, comment, and head down below this video, hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Peace.